Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October 26th Plympton Board of Selectmen meeting. This meeting is being recorded for cablecast and YouTube presentation by Area 58 Community Access Media. A reminder that the video of this meeting is not to be considered an official document. We have certain ground rules that we try to live by. I think everyone in this room has heard them a number of times, so we'll dispense with that and we'll go right to a few moments of silence to prepare for the meeting in any way we'd like to prepare, including potentially being grateful for the opportunity we have to serve the town. Okay, so again, welcome everyone. We've had an executive session already to go over some ongoing litigation. We are now back in open session. Just a reminder on how the schedule is going to work. Essentially, as I understand it, we have from now, 5:45 until 6:30 to deal with the business we have to deal with, the usual things. At 6:30, the Plympton Silver Lake School Committee will be in to brief us and discuss with us a possible sale of some of the land at Silver Lake. And then we plan on that being done by 7 p.m. at the very latest, so those of us that want to can head over to Halifax, where the Halifax FinCom has organized a meeting to include Tri-Town FinComs, Board of Selectmen, and school committees to discuss present state of finances and expectations on the school budget in the new year. So, everybody okay with that? Agenda has been published. Any additional items people would like to have considered? Okay, then onward. First on the agenda was a public records request. Town clerk will be in at some point, so I think we'll save that and then come back to it when she is here. So I think we can just go down the list. We may jump around a little bit, but the next item is planning the community compact committee. Am I remembering correctly? We wanted to wait until Colleen was back, and then you have something to say.
What I was going to propose, Colleen, was this is it's basically doing the same tasks that were in the DOR's committee's assignment, that those 4 individuals would serve on this committee with possibly one more member of Finance Committee, or one of you two if you would like to, and possibly if one of you would like to serve, then maybe another town official, or another someone at large, so that we have an uneven number, so either 5 or 7 people serving.
I think if your committee's willing to take this on as well, that's good. You've got a great committee. And you meet on Wednesdays.
Well,
but this would
what
be different.
We had talked about with our committee was putting it on hold and just focusing on this, so that it wasn't confusing for people that we were meeting with, and just bang off the financial tasks with the consultant, and then go back to the other items that are on the DOR report, so that we weren't meeting at the same time.
So if you can get somebody else from FinCom, probably.
Okay, so 5 members with the 4 of us, and then another member of Finance Committee. Okay, that sounds
good.
perfect.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
All right. That's that. All right, so we're going to see about updates from Town Council, and we'll just go down the list. Personnel performance policy.
I emailed that to both of you, what David Jenkins had recommended for us for the performance policy. And then, I can't remember the woman's name that provided us with a template for a Corey policy.
Michelle.
Thank you. And so we have both of those policies for review.
All right, and we'll go on. Let me just go on with this list and we'll come back. I have not heard from Board of Health. We gave them some time. I did check with Alana on or I did write to Alana about correcting approved minutes, and I haven't heard back from her. That's quite unusual, so maybe that one got lost, and I will write to her again. So back to the first two, the personnel performance policy and the Corey policy. So the next steps there would be simply to go over them and
For us
adopt
to
them if we
review them
want.
and, right,
So I honestly haven't had a chance to review the personnel performance policy. I can certainly do it by next Monday. Along with that, we did have one on our procedure for even adopting.
yes, the Dale gave us, which was a really nice policy on how to adopt policies.
Okay, so theoretically, to do this next, we would simply, if we were ready, be ready when we are ready to vote on each of those. Vote on how policy to make policy, and then vote on the personnel performance. So I'm glad to be prepared to have read those, and if there's nothing to change, to vote on them next week,
Okay.
if you feel ready.
All right, well, I did read them, and they looked good to me. Do you want to schedule next week as kind of just a discussion of those and see if we want to modify them at all, and then maybe the following week
Okay. So,
adopt them?
agenda next week is discuss the contents
Mhm.
of
The personnel policy,
Yes.
performance, okay.
performance policy and policy on policy.
Yeah, and the Corey policy.
And the Corey. I had one question on Corey, in reading through that, and there's pages and pages of stuff here. This is one more thing, how you can create a whole new thing. The one thing I didn't see in there, and maybe I didn't see it, is would we be adopting policy on who we would generally do Corey checks on?
It spells it out in the Corey policy.
Really?
Well,
Yes.
It was very unclear about, I mean, part of the things that we caught was the permitting and license applicants.
Mhm.
And there was just a very brief mention of that in the Middleborough's thing.
It said that, let me see. I've got it too.
I don't remember anything in that from the lawyer.
Yeah, they sent a policy that,
Oh, is this Middleborough? Is that?
yeah, you know what, I didn't look at Middleborough's, I just looked at what their template was, and the template says,
This?
But the town of,
yes,
okay,
yes, so it would be,
I don't know where I came
when
from.
such checks are conducted, such as connection with an application for employment, volunteer work, licensing purposes, or the rental or leasing of housing. So that was it, it was.
Yeah, that's the only mention of it.
That's
And
it.
see, that I heard, I didn't hear in that. I heard in that when such checks are conducted, not that we conduct checks on.
Oh, here it is, purpose. The policy outlines the requirements for the criminal history screening of prospective and current employees, subcontractors, volunteers and interns, professional licensing applicants, and applicants for the rental or leasing of housing. So they're all gonna be subject to the Corey.
All right. No, I understand that those all will, but you know what still isn't utterly clear to me is that, I mean, in other language in here says that Recreation Commission, for example, only those in direct contact with kids. Or, you know, whether we're doing all committees or, I don't feel like that's clear in that. And I think,
Well, why don't we talk about it next week?
okay.
We'll come up
And
with,
I
yeah.
think we need to come up with a list of what our policy is at the moment, that we do Corys on X, X, and X, and not Y, Y, and Y. Because otherwise we're gonna get into, you did one on her, and you didn't do one on her, and da-da-da-da-da.
Okay,
All right,
fair enough.
we'll add that next week. Wow. It will be a riveting one next week, folks. Actually, an important one, though. I shouldn't kid around about that. Okay, we all
Okay.
right on that?
Perfect.
We're back to our list of who has town email addresses. I think we had a little bit of a conversation last week that there were a lot of fire people on there.
Mhm.
Are they meeting in individual emails?
They've been requested by the chief. I'm not sure exactly what I mean, some of them are doing some research and some billing and pumping and stuff, but I can check with them and see whether it's, because
I mean,
there's quite a few
There
there.
were quite a few.
Yeah, I mean, if they need them, they need them, but if $30 a bunch if they don't. All right, so will you check on that and
Mhm.
report to us next week? Sir?
Yes, I'm writing it down.
Okay, thanks, sorry. All right. Check the functioning of email. How we doing on that?
I still think it's a terrible system.
Are you
Um,
able to get anything?
I can get on and I get stuff, but if I want to send something and make an attachment to it, it won't take it.
What's your operating system at home? I mean, is it
Windows 10,
Windows 10?
yeah. And I'm on my Mac too. So I've tried it on different computers.
Yeah, 'cause
And I'm wondering if it's that it's at home as opposed to being here. Because I was in with Colleen Moran and she pulled up her email and it looks completely different. You know, she has a reference to a drop down for file and all that, and I don't have any of that. I have to actually go into the individual email and then that menu will appear.
I'm not sure. I mean, I was using 10, I use 13 now at home, and I don't have any problem with it at all. And I'm not sure. And again, I don't know how we overcome that. I mean, I can't very well have our IT guy go to everybody's house.
Yeah,
So,
that's just really
I mean,
awkward to
we
use
can,
it.
but I'm not
Are you
sure.
on it yet?
No, I haven't been able to get on, but in all honesty, Dale, I haven't tried again. I've
Oh,
got to
okay.
find my password and my ID. I'd have to go through my old emails and find those, because you sent them to me, so I just haven't had a chance to
All right, do you
to
want me
try
to?
it again.
I mean, I can set you up with a new password if you can't find that one.
Okay, do you want to, yeah, set me up with a new password?
I
and
couldn't
just
get
email
on
it
with
to
the
me?
first password he gave me, and then I came in, he set me up with a new one, and then I could get on.
Okay.
But it's a cumbersome system as far as I can tell.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure how to move ahead on this. It's just we've been stumbling over this for 2 years.
Well, and if we keep on paying $30 for all these people that can't use it,
Yeah.
that's, not very smart.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't had. We should probably email everybody and ask them if they can. A lot of people aren't.
If
doing
you,
it.
maybe, I think there are 2 questions to ask. One, are you using the thing? Because if they're not, then, well, we need to know that. And 2, are there issues that you're having trouble with or that make it overly clunky?
Mhm.
So maybe could you email everyone on that list and just, and see what we get in feedback? I mean, honestly, I would go back to using the thing, even though I also find it clunky. And this is probably my deficiency. I cannot figure out how to have it keep forwarding to my regular Outlook box. I can get it to do it for a day, and then it keeps reverting.
Hmm.
Really? Shouldn't.
I mean, that may be just my digital weakness. Well, maybe if you can just keep exploring, Dale, we'd appreciate it, and
Okay.
we'd love to get this off the list.
Mhm.
All right, we okay on that?
Yep, perfect.
All right, next one, Animal Control Officer letter.
All right, I had a nice letter from Frank Bush, the animal control officer, asking if there was something that we could do for, thank you, residents, our senior residents that had animals that needed to be licensed, with the possibility of looking at waiving the fee. But I think the bigger issue was he found that a lot of the older residents weren't getting their dogs and cats vaccinated for rabies because of the cost. And he was wondering if there's something we could do to look into that. And he actually said that several residents had been bitten by both dogs and cats, and it looked like they had both been bitten twice. One of them required, I think, some medical attention. The woman that was bit by the dog, or it doesn't say woman, I don't think, the person that was bit by the dog. So there's a couple of issues here, but I think the bigger issue, more so than the licensing, is the vaccinations. So I don't know. He said he knew of someone that was willing to make house calls because he said that it was difficult for them to get their pets up here or to a location where they were doing a reduced cost rabies clinic. But you know, that I think that would make more sense than trying to get someone to make house calls for the pets. So I don't know if this is something that we could talk about with the Board of Health to see if they have any money that could be used for something like this. I don't know if there's grant money that's available. I believe the money that's used for licensing, it stays in the clerk's office, I believe. I don't, yeah. So that wouldn't be available.
You have to have a rabies vaccination to get a dog license.
Right, and they're not getting licenses because they're not vaccinating their dogs.
And council on aging, I mean, they do have the van, they drive people. So if it's just, I don't know, they could.
Right,
they
and
couldn't
I mean, we
bring a
could
dog in
probably
and-
get some cat carriers if, you know, people needed to be picked up by the van and brought here, because someone was here doing inoculations.
So I will disclose I am a veterinarian and I'm not trying to drum up business, but a few comments. He was concerned that people were having to go to a veterinarian and paying for an office visit, and I fully understand that, and that is true. On the other hand, there are rabies clinics every year in surrounding towns. There's one in Kingston. I do it. I'm not trying to drum up business. I have more than enough fun already. But there's one every year in Kingston, and people come from a lot of different towns. There's also one in Halifax at least once a year,
I
if
think
not more.
Petco and PetSmart actually do it as
Yeah,
well.
they do. So admittedly, that does mean getting a pet there. I am glad to help the residents in some way, and if any of these other organizations, Council on Aging or Board of Health want to be involved. But I love Frank, and he's a very dedicated animal control officer. I've dealt with a lot of them over the years, and I do adore him. But I think there are easy, inexpensive vehicles for people to get their animals vaccinated. Whether we would want to consider some kind of reduced rate for licensing for the elderly, I mean, that's a separate issue. I'm not sure that's our issue or town clerk, but I think that certainly would be something to explore.
Well, maybe he can, get a better handle on how many people this actually affects. If it's 5 people, well, just take care of them.
Right.
On a personal level, somebody can take care of them. If it's, 50 people, well, then maybe we need to pursue a local clinic. And then transportation for those people, and I know, I'd be happy to drive somebody. I was just,
And honestly, I don't think this is a conflict of interest. I would be glad to donate my time in any way to help on this. I can't visit every house in town, but if we brought a bunch of them in, I'm glad to donate my
yeah,
time
so
and
if he
donate the
can
vaccine.
work up some
With
better figures.
transportation, get some, figures, how many people are we talking about, and how many animals, and then we can just kind of go from there and see what is required to, okay. So do you want me to get in touch with Frank
Sure.
and see if he can give us some counts, and then I'll tell him that we're working on it, and
Okay.
And
see
maybe
what we
some
can do.
timing too, because these are an annual thing. Are there 5 people that are already expired, or, do they expire next month, or is it, for the next 5 months?
Yeah, it's always gonna be a timing thing, that's,
At some point, you just have to start, but.
right, right. I don't know what the cycle is. What is it, dog licenses? Are those due by July?
Now it's January.
January, okay,
Or you relicense your animals January 1st,
okay,
as of last year.
okay. Alrighty,
Okay?
yeah, perfect,
Okay.
thank you.
Solar updates. Oh, another moment of silence, it's wonderful.
The only thing I have is that we are supposed to be getting a host payment from Blue Wave. We did this last year, being the town host to their site in Mattapoisett, which gives us something like $15,000. And I guess that's in the works.
That's
Did
in the
you-
works. Yeah, and we don't have to do anything any
Okay.
more than we've done at this point. We'll
So last year it had to go through the Board of Selectmen to be agreed to and all that. We don't have to do that again?
well, you did agree to pursue it again this year, a few meetings back, I remember, it was, I don't know if it was an official vote, but it was, as to whether to pursue it again this year when they offered it, and it was a while back. But,
What my understanding is that it came up when John Henry was meeting with them, negotiating
Mhm.
the contract, and he asked them if Plympton could be the host town again for Mattapoisett. And
I was at that meeting. They actually asked
Okay.
us to do it. I mean, and John agreed and I agreed. That was a good idea. And
so
that's-
we did not vote it, this board did not vote on it. Do we need to? Or because we already approved it for last year, we're okay?
I mean, you can take a tacit vote on it to do it when it comes time to, to actually sign it. I believe there'll be some paperwork that actually has to be signed by the board. You can take the vote at that point. I mean, I think the board's all in agreement that the town should pursue it again for this year, so.
It's 15,000
Yeah,
for the town.
and I guess maybe I've lost track. Is the ball in their court at this point? I mean,
They're putting it all, they've
Okay.
put it all together. We've signed up, I mean, officially, and it's working through. I forget the name of the agency, there's so many.
There was the question of whether we would take the lower payment with an escalator, or we're gonna take
Oh, yeah,
the...
Yeah.
they're supposed to be getting us,
Yeah, I did hear back
Figures.
from them on that. This is a different issue though. This is on
Right.
Blue Wave on Lake Street. I did hear back from Aidan Foley on that, and he said he had asked them if they would, if they would prepare it for him, and they came back and they said, well, because they're sort of set now in the original pilot agreement the way they liked it, and it ends up being roughly the same amount of money, but they're really not sure that they want to, it means they have to take a bigger hit up front. And that has to go back to their investors. And anytime you change anything, the way he explains it, anytime you change anything in front of the investors, they get a little antsy. They're already antsy over that because of the litigation,
Right.
so.
Okay.
yeah, the question was just, what the difference was, and if it's
Yeah.
minimal, and then it's minimal.
Yeah, but over the course of the lease, it's the same amount of money. It's just how it works out. And from a planning standpoint, at least financial planning standpoint, from a town standpoint, it's probably easier to have that as a fixed thing every year rather than something that's going to change over time.
So we're waiting for them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're waiting for them on that.
All right, so we have 20 minutes until 6:30. Continuing discussing planning, board goals and priorities. Anything on the Selectmen task force sheet?
Let's see. All right, so Dale's working on the fixed cost spreadsheet. I'm sure he'll have a report during his time. Let's see. I forgot the hiring policy. That's something that we need to talk about too. So I believe Dale's already gotten me some hiring
Did I
policies.
send you that? Yeah, I sent you the one that I was used to working with, which is actually pretty good. It just says how long it'll be posted, where it'll be advertised, what the sequence is. In other words, you tend to look inside first, then go outside. And, as long as it's written down, you follow the policy, everybody gets treated the same, and it's fine. I mean, you can make any kind of modifications, but that seemed to work good for a small town, so.
Okay.
So do we want to be prepared to
So let's
discuss that next week
one
too?
next one too, so we can get all these.
And the plan on all of those discussions, see if there was anything else that came up, potentially voting, or if not that week, voting the next week.
Right.
Okay, great.
Okay, so then The financial policies, Dale already provided us with those. Then we're working on job descriptions. I think we have job descriptions for just about everybody now, don't we?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much, I think we do.
So where are they collected?
I have them.
Wage and personnel has
Yeah,
them.
wage and personnel have them. I have them from DOR, so,
So,
can we go through and like make a checklist and just see?
my thought being that this is where I wanted to be 2.5 years ago, start being, that we'd end up with a policy and procedures manual for all boards, committees, and all
That's
of
what you're
that.
building with all
And
those.
that all this stuff that we begin to put in one place. And slowly keep adding policy, and by the time we're done, we actually have the whole thing done. So we probably need one repository for everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can provide you with what I've got, and then if Dale can give us a little idea as to who we still need to get them for, then that, narrows the list on who we're still working on. But yeah, I'd be happy to give you what I've got.
Okay. So especially after we vote on these, we'll actually have a policy
Yeah,
and
we'll start
procedures
to,
manual.
right, get organized here.
Fantastic.
All right, so you're working on the email, the town email, so it looks like we've got the list from Dale already, and Dale's gonna now report back as to who's actually using them, and so that's still a work in progress. The general enterprise cable fund, that won't be until town meeting, we'll have to do a warrant article. Quarry policy, we're working on that, we should have that done within a couple of weeks. Nothing new happening with Parsonage Road, other than you've got a document
Public
request, public
record.
records request. Community compact, we decided on that, it's gonna be 5 members, with the members of the DOR committee and 1 additional member of the finance committee. Blue Wave PPA, that's in negotiations, right?
That's in the process of going through now.
Okay, and then we just have disposition of town-owned land taken through tax title. So do you want to try to set up an executive session in the near future to kind of get a game plan together, look at the list and
Can we
decide?
get through this stuff and aim for mid-late November for that?
I don't even know if we have to do it that soon, but we can. You want to go
I-
for mid to late November?
I'm feeling if we can push that down the road and just have a few less things
Okay.
on our plate and do well on those.
You want to do it before Thanksgiving?
Right after Thanksgiving.
Okay, so how
Actually,
about, why
that'd
don't we
be
go?
good. If we get it the beginning of December, things begin to slow down,
Yeah.
a little more time to chew on
Okay.
that, better understand the whole mess.
Okay, so we'll go like 12/1
Good.
on that. Okay, all right, and that's all that we've got. And then Dale can report on what he's got, but he had already gathered the financial policies for us. We are working on job descriptions, and let's see. All right, I'll hold the other ones for Dale to report on. And then Bree, how you coming with the quarry certification?
Good. I put another call to her about the message. I still have to go
Okay,
to their legal department.
okay, all
When I
right,
called back, I got the same answer from the person that I had
okay. And then
on what the charge is.
what the charge is? Okay, so that's the only thing is, we're not sure how much it's gonna cost every time we do a quarry check. Okay, and then you're working with Tara on the board and committee contact list.
Yes.
Is it almost done?
She's saying that that's it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right, why don't you send me what you got and I'll take a look.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what she, okay.
Okay.
It's
perfect.
on how it's going to be formatted to the website.
Okay.
That's what she said. It has to be formatted to this folder.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's all of ours.
Okay.
Okay, well, we sort of skipped the public safety.
Oh, sorry.
Building committee.
Sorry, Colleen.
It's all right. I'll go on vacation again.
All right. Good. Good. A little bit of assertiveness. Good. Go for it.
So, a couple weeks ago, we had a meeting, and Dale had arranged with Collins Engineering to come, and he gave us a presentation. The committee had some suggestions and some requests, and he's coming back, and he'll be here this Wednesday, the 28th at 6 o'clock. Anyone interested, come on down.
And he'll have a pretty, it's a pretty comprehensive plan. I haven't seen it, but he came, we had a visit here one Saturday, the engineer was in and was asking questions of the fire chief about the new building. Anyway, they met and they talked, and he had the actual plan there and was showing the chief, so he's gonna have something pretty,
We had
interesting.
talked at that meeting if the plan was available before the meeting.
That's right.
To
Yeah,
get it.
hopefully, I'd asked him to send it to me, electronically before, so I could send it out to the committee. I can probably ask him.
Could you, if possible, check with them tomorrow? Because if the committee could have that ahead of time, I think that just a little forethought would be nice. Okay?
That's it.
Okay.
Jeez, it's the first thing on the list too, Colleen, too, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Well, both of us are sorry.
No.
All right. So we won't miss the next one, town coordinator report. And I think probably once again we hit a few things already.
Okay, I did speak with the people in Carver about Spring Street property. I think I explained that to everybody, and they're trying to basically get back up to speed.
Yeah,
over
so you're
the-
just gonna call them every once in a while and see if
Yeah,
there's
I
anybody
mean, I
in
don't
place
want to
yet.
hound, but I mean, I'm not sure they're prepared to deal with that. That sort of all got put on hold, the way I understood it. They weren't really sure. But I will just keep pestering them on that one. The perk was done today on the Center Street property, and I haven't gotten a report back yet, and it made it look very favorable when they did the test diggings and all of that, so I'm assuming we'll have a perk test, but that should be up and done, so Center Street will be, I'm sure will be a viable piece of property at that point.
Do you think you'll have the results by Wednesday?
I'm hoping.
Okay.
Yeah, I should. I think George will probably send them to me, George Collins. Finished the final report and the inspection, the last piece of the inspection, which was the Historical Society building for the Green Communities grant. That's gone in, and hopefully that'll all be in order so we can wrap that one up and get the final payment from the state on that. And Bree met with our Maya representative for insurance last week and got a bunch of information, probably more than she wanted at all in one sitting. But in any event, she did tell me last Thursday there's a $5,000 grant available from Maya to actually heat the gutters on this building, to gutters and downspouts for the ice dam issue. I don't have to run them all the time, but they may be nice to have, and they just need a quote this week, so I'm getting a quote Wednesday morning on it, and then we can submit the quote for the grant and see if Maya will be nice enough to do that for us, and they probably will, since they had 2 insurance claims they've had to deal with
And
for ice
since
dams.
you're on the roof, is this all done? I know before it was promised that it would be done before winter came. And
Yeah, he came back and did some work. We haven't had any leaks. I don't know about the ice dam issue, but we haven't had any leaks, and we had some torrential rain, so.
yeah, we did.
So that worked out, but just as a stopgap measure, it would probably be nice, especially, if we can get it through a grant to, heat the downspouts and
sure.
the gutters, and that way there, for as often as you have to run them, which won't be that often, but if we have another winter like last winter, and that's it for me.
Correspondence?
Okay, all right, can I just follow up?
Sure.
When do you think you'll have the spreadsheet that you and Barbara were working on?
I'm hoping within a week. I'm
Okay.
hoping, but I mean,
Perfect.
it's
Okay, let's see.
That's a spreadsheet for,
The
Fixed
fixed cost spreadsheet, so just that it'll be helpful in planning for town meetings so that we can know
Great.
what we're looking at with all of our fixed costs.
What do you want to do for a date?
How about we go, do you want to go 2 weeks on that one, just in case? And then acquire amended engineering study of Palmer Street site? Has that been done?
That's what we
That's what-
talked about.
yeah.
Okay, so
That's
you're
what's
all set
coming
with
in on
that?
Wednesday,
Oh,
yeah.
on Wednesday, okay. And that's the evaluation of Center Street property, the perks, so the perk was done on that, okay,
Mhm.
perfect,
Yeah,
okay.
Center Street should be all set with Center Street. That's actually, I went down there today while they were doing it. I didn't see the actual engineer. They were somewhere in the woods, but That's a pretty nice piece of property, actually.
We're on Center Street.
Yeah, the bogs are all around it, it's really nice.
And it's pretty flat too,
Pretty.
isn't it?
Oh, yeah, very
Mhm.
flat, yeah, and high and dry, so it's, which in Plympton is an
Unusual.
accomplishment.
It's only high and dry until you dig a hole.
Well, that's true.
Okay.
Okay, so that's all we had on the
Correspondence.
worksheet. Correspondence. All right, so from Tara, we have the, let's see, the special state primaries, the announcement, Tuesday, the third day of November 2015, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the following purpose: to cast the votes in the special state election for the following office: Senator in General Court for the 2nd Plymouth and Bristol District. So we just need to sign that so that she can post that for the
Okay.
special election. And then from FEMA, they're doing a discovery meeting for the Cape Cod watershed, and it looks like this does affect part of Plympton. Looking at the maps, so there are 2 meetings scheduled for the Cape Cod watershed. One is Tuesday, November 17th at the Dartmouth Town Hall, and then the second one is Tuesday, November 7th, same day, Tuesday, November 17th at 1:00 p.m. in the Kingston Public Library.
When's the one in Dartmouth?
Dartmouth is the same day, November 17th at 9:30 a.m. at the Dartmouth Town Hall.
It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah,
Yeah, unfortunately,
so these are both
can't
on
do it.
Tuesdays, and just asked us to RSVP if we're able to attend the meetings, and unfortunately I'm not.
So I think maybe
Either.
we'll have to miss those.
You know, I wonder if we could ask Jim Mulcahy if he would be interested in attending.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll
All right.
certainly offer
Do
the
you want to
opportunity.
forward that to Jim and see if he has interest in attending? All right, and then from the Plympton Halifax Express, the hazard mitigation plan was signed. They did a presentation last week and cable videotaped, so that was very nice. So people at home could see that as well. And then I think that was it. I think that was it for Plympton, wasn't it? Oh, Plympton Youth Basketball registration, looks like that is online at www.plymptonyouthsports.com to register for youth. And the Boy Scouts are having a haunted maze October 23rd and 24th, so it's a Friday and a Saturday, so that would be last week. Okay. It was last weekend. All right, and then the last item we have is from the Massachusetts Tree Warden Foresters Association. They're looking for nominations for the Tree Warden of the Year, and they have given us an application to.
So if anyone has any thoughts or recommendations on that, they can let us know.
Well, Bill Hayes has done a really nice job, and
Has he not? I may be misremembering, but didn't he get this award?
has he gotten this award before?
I don't remember, it could very well.
Probably quite deserving.
You know, I can do a little, go online and see who has gotten it in the past, but the work that he has done with Eversource, trimming back the trees, we don't lose power like we used to. Just,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
we'll get flashes,
Yeah.
but he has really done a great job getting the trees trimmed so that we aren't losing power. And that is all we've got.
Great.
So I'll look into that. Well, we're gonna see if he's already been nominated, so why don't I take that with me, and then I'll see if there's anything that says if you've already gotten it, that you can't do it again, and if he hasn't, then
Great.
I'll report back next week.
Very good. All right, so I think we can go on to minutes, and then we'll see if town clerk will come in, and we have not seen the Silver Lake School Committee yet. But let's do the two sets of minutes to deal with tonight. First is the October 5th minutes. And I found only a couple of sort of typos on page 2.
All right, that was October 5th?
Yes. Anyone else?
The only thing I had is, yeah, a typo. Veterans is not capitalized except when it's a title.
Okay. And
Just- it's not-
there was an apostrophe there that,
Yeah,
and I think there was government funding that was capitalized that probably
I
shouldn't
didn't even
be.
get that one.
So, all right, can you be the keeper of the
Sure.
minutes
Yeah.
and pass on to have only those?
Well, I
in-
had a couple
Oh,
of
sorry.
changes too. When we met with the Board of Assessors, I think what we talked about was a suggestion from the BOS was made to construct a public education video for the abatement process and answer the top 10 to 20 most commonly asked questions. And what I wanted to add was generated from a public meeting.
Yes, now that you say that, I remember that
Yeah.
you did suggest a
Okay.
public
So
meeting.
that we'd like to have them do a public meeting, and then there was just a period
Okay.
after that one.
Yeah.
And then, on land dedication, suggestions from BOS was to have a monument dedicated to, we weren't gonna do a corner, we were
Right.
gonna do a monument dedicated to all veterans. And then I just had with the votes taken that we needed to specify what was voted, made a motion for permission for Mrs. Joy to meet with town council, and I think we gave me an hour because we knew it was gonna be quick. And then what the vote was, 3-0. And then on this one, appointments for DOR advisory committee until dissolved. Same thing with 3-0. And then, let's see here. General Enterprise Fund, Mr. Quill will be at next scheduled special town
Yeah,
meeting.
I'm sorry, I did circle that one too.
All right. So that's when we're gonna vote it, is, but is it a general enterprise fund? It's that cable thing, isn't it? It's the cable fund?
Why does it say Mr. Crowe?
Board goals. I think we should just strike that bullet.
Okay,
Um, Oh, you know what it was? Dale was going to make a note, because Dale is sort of the keeper of the town meeting warrant, was going to make a note that we would have a cable enterprise fund article on the special town meeting.
okay, so it's a cable enterprise fund, and we will, to be included in the special town meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, and then, all right, the Roger O'Neill land donation, and to all you that helped, and then I think you said, and to Mr. O'Neill for the generous donation,
Sure.
and then,
We're
reviewed
getting
prior.
ahead of
You're
Colleen.
ahead of me. What
We're
was
getting
that?
ahead of Colleen.
Okay, Roger O'Neill land donation.
Mm-hmm.
Mark reported that it had been completed on 10/30, and he thanked all those that helped, and Mr. O'Neill for the generous donation. And then under minutes, we just need a date. Reviewed prior meetings, minutes, we just need a date in there.
So that would have been,
The week before?
I think there was a few on there on the second day.
Oh, you think there was a couple? Oh, okay,
I'll just put the dates in there.
Okay.
I'll
you'll
get
check,
dates and I'll
you
go back.
you have them? Yeah,
Perfect.
okay.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah, that's all I have.
so I think Colleen was the keeper of the amendments, or the
Perfect.
All
So
right.
you want to take mine too? There, you can.
So I make a motion the minutes be approved as amended.
Second.
Welcome.
Hello.
All right, so one more set of minutes. Wow, we are honored with the Plympton Finance Committee. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for remembering. And here comes
Hey,
the Silver
Maureen.
Lake.
Oh, there she is. We just walked.
So welcome all you. We just have a couple of quick items, and we should be ready to go. Dale, could you see if Tara wants to come in for that other item? So the one other thing, we had the minutes of September 28th. We had approved them. We heard from a citizen who was concerned about a couple of errors. I have not heard from Alana yet on what we do about this. I wanted maybe to just include in the minutes tonight the changes that we feel like should be included, so at least we show that we have done that. I have highlighted and/or written in red. We somehow we got the name wrong on Roger O'Neill, so we need to fix that. There was concern that the word re-signed could be misunderstood, so it was suggested we would change that to signed again. And then essentially adding the last sentence or clarifying the last sentence, so it more clearly shows that we accepted the deed, but that there were several steps left. I mean, subsequently, all that stuff's done now, but just in the interest of absolute clarity on this, with your permission, I'd like to ask Bree to make note that those are the changes we would hope to make in the minutes.
Yes, second, Twitter.
Yeah, so that's my motion, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so Bree, I'll go over this with you and how we can get that worded, okay?
Okay.
Very good.
And we do have the minutes from
Ooh,
the public safety.
yeah.
They all say the same thing, they just have the sign-in date and sign-off day. Or time, rather.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, she could just cut this and put it in these minutes for today if
Yeah,
we're not
that's-
able to go back.
And that's the point, is at least that will be documented, we'll see whether we can go back.
So this is just us.
Yeah, that's just you guys.
So I make oh, that's right. So I make a motion that the minutes of the Plympton Board of Selectmen Public Safety Building Committee for August 19th, September 9th, and September 23rd be approved as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll abstain because I wasn't at the meeting.
All right. So, Plympton Silver Lake School Committee, welcome. Plympton Finance Committee, welcome. We just have one more item, and this one involves a request for public documents that was made during the summer. Requests were made to the Open Space Committee, to the Board of Selectmen, and to the Community Preservation Committee. The first step in that process were for the chairs of those committee to estimate the number of documents involved and the amount of time involved, so that town clerk could let the person know who was making the request what kind of expense would be involved. Public request law is tremendously complex with a lot of gray areas, and because it can get so complex, town clerk ends up with a lot of responsibility there, and I think is here maybe to ask for potentially some time with town council if issues come up.
Yes, all correct.
Okay,
I have the request form.
okay.
I'm not sure if I'm going to need it, but I'm gathering documents that I've already sent a reply August 13th, which was within the 10-day window of replying. It seemed like a high estimate, and I want to make sure that what I'm accounting for is correct. And I've had it narrowed down by the resident to start with emails. And not necessarily the attachments with all of those emails. My estimate started out at $957, and that was, I was accounting for 50 administrative hours from all of the boards. And we have to charge the amount of money of the lowest paid employee for our department, and in that case it's my assistant. So my initial estimate was $957. So far, we're up to 12 administrative hours, and that's accounting for 2 boards. The Open Space Committee has only done about a quarter of the way through the emails, and that was 6 hours. But we're up to at least 1,200 pages of emails. So if I'm unclear about what's considered an electronic version or printed email version, it's standard to charge 20 cents per page. So we're already up to 1,200. So far I'm up to $469 and 12 hours administrative time. And that doesn't include copies or 3/4 of the way through. So the cutoff has been clarified to be from May of 2013 for emails. So it's still pretty close to what my estimate is, but I want to just make sure that what I'm asking for is correct by town council. I just need a couple of clarifications.
So the request before us is for time with town council, if needed, to make sure we get this right.
Right.
And I think we absolutely positively need to get this exactly right, even though there are a lot of gray areas. So I would make a motion that we approve time with town council as needed.
As needed with a limit, or just as needed? Usually we put a limit.
Okay.
An hour.
I don't think it's going to be an hour. I just want to make sure it's not only administrative time to gather the documents, but also for review of the documents, if they are printed and still requested when the resident comes in to look, somebody has to be present at all times. Mm-hmm. So I estimated 50 hours total, including all administrative for all of the boards, and then my time in the office with the resident.
So shall we initially authorize up to, let's say, 2 hours of time with town council?
Sure.
And if you need more, you know where we are.
Okay.
So I make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Well, this will be applicable to any public records
Right.
request we get, and it's good just to get it clarified so that we know going forward.
I did have an interaction with town council that wasn't requested by me. They contacted me looking for a status update. So I sent an email explaining what my estimate was, but I don't think it was anything beyond like a new request from me. So without getting permission, it was just in response.
Yeah, thank you.
Tara, what's the span that this person is looking for emails? What were the dates? You said it went to May 2013. Was that the end or was that the beginning?
It started out just in general for one particular property, and then after some communication, it's been shortened to May of 2013, and I think it's because of when somebody was elected. So it's
Okay.
emails to May 2013.
From what, the beginning of time they're looking for emails?
No, nope, the public records request was specifically to the Community Preservation Committee,
Open space.
Open Space Committee, and
Board of Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen.
For what,
So emails for pertaining to 59 Parsonage Road.
and they didn't give a start date? They just gave you an
No,
end date?
just, I can read the request.
Holy, no, that just seems pretty excessive.
It was,
So it's, yeah, there's no
all
wonder that the fee is
reports,
so high.
appraisals, letters, legal opinions, and correspondence received or sent by any of those 3 boards regarding 59 Parsonage Road.
I think
So
you're,
now it's
you're
been
right
narrowed down
on
just to
with-
emails, so it may not be that high, but even just with the emails, I'm up to 12 administrative hours and 1,200 pages.
right, it's still gonna be,
And
that's a
only
lot
a
of
quarter of
documents.
the way through open space.
And I want to get to the next thing. I am going to make a couple comments on this, just because I'm very involved in it a lot of time. These are my emails so far on this project. Citizens have every right to request public documents. They are there for transparency. Every single meeting that was was involved in this. There was a notice of meeting, there were minutes available, there was never an executive session on any of this, and we do not have a town coordinator. We do have a town coordinator, thank goodness. We do not have a town manager, planner, conservation office, administrative help. We're doing all this as volunteers, and honestly, this is quite a burden and quite a chilling effect, in my humble opinion, on the town when this kind of public requests come in.
And
Again, there's 1,200 pages there so
There's
far.
also another clarification too. This doesn't include minutes and postings, anything that was accessible by our website. I included the links to all of those minutes, and that's not even included, so.
So there may be more on this, and I think because we have a bunch of people here, not only are we wanting to talk about Silver Lake land, we all want to get over to Halifax for the meeting. So we can have more discussion along the way if we want on this. Certainly, all the boards and committees involved are complying with this records request, and we'll see what happens.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, I just wanted to get the form submitted.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Abe Neal, Express Newspapers. Just moving forward with the rest of the meeting, could I respectfully ask you to ask the audience to identify themselves if they are going to speak to the board on
Okay.
behalf of the media?
Forgive me, and actually, we had talked about this previously. Yes, so anyone that does speak to the board, if you can say your name and even spell your last name, so print media will get that right.
Thank you.
Now,
Because we have Silver Lake people here and new FinCom people here, why don't could we quickly just introduce ourselves? Actually, you have a new person up front that I don't know. Could we just kind of quickly get up to speed?
okay, go right ahead. Plympton FinCom.
Lisa Hart, FinCom.
Susan Ossoff, FinCom.
Marilyn Brown, FinCom. Jean Cohen, FinCom.
Nathaniel Sides, FinCom.
Joy Blackwood, Superintendent. Christine Joy, Finance Committee.
That's Maureen Springer. Selectmen.
Silver Lake.
Jason Frazier.
So we have 20 minutes to go.
And you guys,
Oh.
Bridget.
Dale Flo, Town Coordinator.
Bridget, Assistant Board of Selectmen.
Christine Joy, Board of Selectmen.
Mark Russo, Board of Selectmen.
Colleen Thompson, Board of Selectmen.
Okay, so if we seem rushed out there, it is because it's 7:15. Pretty much the lot of us want to be in Halifax for a tri-town meeting of FinComs, Board of Selectmen's, and school committee. So we're here to talk about the possibility of some land at Silver Lake being sold. Are you going to present
Sure.
initially, please?
So, the way this came up was Silver Lake's been talking back and forth with the town of Kingston and the police department. They want to build a new police station, and they said the perfect spot is some land that Silver Lake and the three towns own on the Silver Lake property. It's been going back and forth for a number of months, and we required them to get an appraisal, an independent appraisal. They did that. They came back. Initially, they wanted just 5 acres, then they wanted the whole 20 acres. At this point, the Silver Lake Committee voted to consider negotiations with them. We've got our attorney, Mrs. Blackwood, the superintendent, and the town of Kingston's attorney, which I believe is their town manager, Mr. Flannery.
Mr. Tennessee is their town manager.
Tennessee. So just the four of them are basically gonna go back and forth, and then it's gonna be presented to us, the school committee, to make a decision. If it's a positive decision, it still has to go on a warrant and go to each of the three towns and be passed at town meeting. The law is the way the land was acquired, it has to be the same way it was sold. It was acquired as a vote of town meeting for the three towns. If we were gonna sell a piece, it would be that.
Is it three towns have to vote yes?
Yes, all three towns have to vote yes. So I just grabbed this plan. I'm sorry I didn't make any copies of it. If you were to look at it, I look at it this way. This is Route 27. This is the administration building, to give you an idea. There are houses right here. And this land is behind here. Years ago, we talked about trying to put something here, but because of the brook, it was a little bit hard to, we talked about doing a bridge and maybe some walking trails, and it just got to be a little bit too much for us. So it started out that they wanted to leave us a little bit of frontage, which is like the size of a driveway. Since that time, we've gone back and said if we wanted to do this, we'd want like a 50-50 frontage. There's plenty of frontage there for whatever they can do. You know, it's really gonna be up to the towns. We have people on our committee that don't wanna hear about this at all, and we have other people that are very excited about it. Now, there's a lot of pros and cons to it. The pros from the Kingston Police Chief are basically that they're right there, you know, in the event, tragic event that anything happened, that they do have a resource officer at our school now that the town of Kingston is paying for. But there are some negatives too. We're concerned about people that have to register for offenses, that are we attracting them to our school, where they might not realize where it is. So it's a lot of going back and forth, but I did want to bring it up. I don't know if the town of Halifax has been presented with anything yet. And of course, if we were to sell it, it would be split the same way the Pembroke money was split. It would be the 54% to Kingston, 30-something% to Halifax, and a piddling amount to us. So, and I'm not, you know, I voted to go into negotiations, but I'm very much on the fence with this. I'm not one that wants to give away this land. I think that it's our job to secure the property for 20 years from now, when the next school committee is there and the, you know, the new superintendent, and to see how many children we have if we do need to expand at that point.
So is there no thought that that land might be needed for expansion for some school project?
We have talked about that. Right now, we're under capacity for what we have. And if you look at the enrollment in the 3 towns, it's been going down in Halifax and Plympton for a number of years. Only Kingston has increased.
It did come up in the conversation when Kingston approached us about the entire parcel of land, how we might want to have that as a potential location someday for Silver Lake pre-K. We could also have it as an expansion of some of the special needs.
Yes.
Trying to bring some of those programs back in-house that those students now go to collaborative or off-site locations. So different people on the committee saw ways that we could divide the land that would allow for both projects to move forward. There would still be land buildable for Silver Lake, but also allow for the building of the police station as well.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Is it going to take all 3 towns to vote yes?
Yes, all 3 have to vote yes. And originally, and when they, you know, it's gone back and forth for a number of months, as I said. There was a little discussion that they wanted the whole piece because they want to put some fields there, and tried to convince us that it would be great for us to have more fields there. We don't need fields, and we don't see that we will need fields in the future, and we have other land that's right next to the school that we could use. So we didn't want to give up that option, and we certainly can't afford to pay for any more fields to maintain them or anything else. So then when that dropped off the table, it became more feasible to us to consider the 5 up to 5 acres that they need. They're going to move their building over towards the wetlands, if you look at that, which would give a more open area. And that little diagram that they drew for the ad building, they did that. That had nothing to do with us.
That's not our current ad building.
No. They're saying as if, oh, you could put a future ad building there. And I said, sure, when we win the lottery, you know, that would be great.
Right.
So do you have any other information about whether other towns have the police station in such close proximity to the school, and does that raise any issues in those towns? Are we?
That wasn't brought to us at all. Jason, you had some interest in why it should be there, and
All of my information is anecdotal, just so you know. I've been trained in a program that's called the ALICE program, and it's a way to confront and to deal with potential lockdown situations within school buildings. And one of the statistics that comes up from all the tragedies that have occurred in our public schools over the years is 2 minutes. 2 minutes is how long most active shootings last for. That's the duration. and they're usually ended by confrontation, where the assailant is confronted by either staff or by law enforcement and forced to either end the situation themselves or they're taken out by law enforcement. The proximity of that police station would allow for greater capacity of that 2-minute window to be closed. Obviously, there's the other component, the flip side of that coin. So this is something that law enforcement is extremely interested in. The educational perspective is on the fence at this point.
I was wondering if you couldn't ask the police chief, our police chief, what his take on it is. I know that, they all know each other and everything, but, we have some concerns about this. We're concerned with the buses coming in the morning, if there were to be police cars going in and out, interrupting, entering school, leaving school. I don't know, I don't know
And
how
also
that,
the flip side is having 16-and-a-half-year-old kids coming down that road and knowing there's a police station. And what that might do to them in their judgment calls on their way to school 1 minute before the first bell rings. So it's not as extreme as necessarily a lockdown situation. It could be as mundane as the everyday drive to school.
so we don't really, we wanted to let you know.
So next steps are,
The negotiations are, I don't believe they didn't started yet because our Silver Lake attorney was in a trial.
We also have to officially decide who the negotiating team will be from Silver Lake.
And that'll be at the November.
And that will be at the November meeting. It's anticipated it would be the lawyer and possibly myself will be voted by the committee. They've done the appraisal. We've looked at it. Initially, they wanted 5 acres. Then they were interested in the full 20 acres. We've agreed to more closer to the 5-acre mark. We really don't want to give up all of the land. There's areas that we are interested in. We'd like to maintain some frontage on 27 so that, if we were to choose to do it, we would still have access to getting in, not that we would be dependent on that police road. If we decided we wanted that property down the road for whatever it may be. The appraisal is been done for 5 acres and 20 acres. So we have at least a beginning point, but we have areas that we want to look into more. The safety, and there's a positive and negative to the safety. The frontage, the amount of acreage, the location of where on the acreage. Some of it is marshland. The property is, if you're at all familiar with it, we have the ad building, the low ranch that looks like a 1950s house. And then there's a slope that goes down like this, and that's the Jones River, and it's not really accessible. That's why we've never built on it before. We'd have to basically build a bridge across that for our kids to go over to get into that area. That's been part of the ongoing problem. So where they would locate the police station would be farther away, is what we're anticipating, from our property. It's a 20-acre parcel. We wouldn't probably want to have them closest to us. That's probably the piece we would want to keep for us. But, on the far side of the acreage. But we're just beginning the process, and, you haven't been party to knowing that this is even going on. So just wanted to let you know that we're at the very beginning stages. We have not begun negotiations. We've not even officially nominated a negotiating team yet. But it will probably move fairly quickly because I know the town of Kingston is very anxious. This is something that they've been talking about. They've hired architects. They're looking at a variety of, and this is their, I believe, #1 choice for land. There are other options, but this seems to be the piece that they're most interested in, mainly because it's right on 27, which is where their old station is, farther down the road.
okay.
I think Sue had a question, I'm sorry. I think I may be blocking her.
No, it's okay. I was just curious, except for this parcel, should Silver Lake decide to expand program, is there other land other than this really, this is sort of it? So and there is the consideration that you're maybe limiting future expansion because you're never going to be acquiring land.
That's a very good point.
I didn't know if you had other land.
No, this is all we have. There was a very small parcel off of Lake Street that has been designated a water area that was on the other side of the street when we put the fields in. That's sort of been a runoff, which was like 1/4 of an acre. That's the only other land I'm aware of, unless somebody's got some hidden somewhere, but I don't think so.
So when you said you had more field space, it's just that you have land that's not utilized
We do have
private
we do
property.
have land down in the back of the fields that could be utilized to expand, but our, right now, you know, we're not at capacity for the field
Yeah.
use. And the school is built to hold so many children, so we can't expand that much without having the overcrowding issue and whatever, so.
Mm.
So like I said, we just wanted to give you a heads up, and it's an ongoing process, and we'll let you know as soon as we know something else.
We appreciate the heads up, we
Of course.
appreciate you guys coming in, we appreciate superintendent coming in and FinCom, and this will be an ongoing thing. This will be a good challenge
I
if
think so.
we get to the point to wrestling with the decision.
How
So,
quickly, can I just ask a
Oh,
question? How
please.
quickly would you anticipate this happening? Do you think it'd be town meeting next year?
Yes, this coming year.
This coming year.
This May?
2016, yeah, that's what they're looking for a vote. They're really pushing this. I mean, and when I say they, there's a very aggressive group that wants this piece of land. We've probably met with them a couple of times a month over the last 3 or 4 months. So they want to know, you know, it was even suggested that they ask Plympton and Halifax to have a special town meeting for it. And I said, that's never going to happen.
No.
I said, unless you want to pay for it, because we're not going to pay for a special town meeting about you guys. You know, what I find frustrating is there's never been an offer on the table. They keep saying, what do you want? And we're like, when you buy something, usually you put an offer out there. And my response was, I don't want anything because I don't want to sell it. But, you
Do
know,
you know
there
what
go.
it's assessed at, the 5 acres?
485, I believe.
450 for all 20 and 250 for 5.
and our percentage is
250 for 5 acres
13,
on Route
11.
27?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I have it
Who
here.
assessed that?
Yeah. All right.
Did you want us to contact Chief Dillon to see if we could get
If
some
you-
type
If you'd like
of
to, that would be great. I think
feedback
it's more
from
official
him
coming from
on
you
what
guys.
his thoughts are on this?
That'd be great.
I'll touch base with him, I'll get back to you
You
guys.
can keep that.
Thank you
Okay.
very
All right.
much. Thank you for coming in to meet with
All
us.
right. All of us that are,
Wait, Jane has a question.
oh, okay.
Where were the other 2 options for them?
They haven't told us that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought there would be a better option than where, we seem to be too far towards Pembroke, to me. But,
But I'd be interested to see if Chief Dillon thinks it's value added,
to the school.
not dollars,
But what is the value to the
but to our
school?
students who are there.
Right, what it
Right.
would bring.
But being cognizant of the fact that you're never gonna be able to acquire any more.
Exactly.
Limiting your own options that way, it's, you make a
Yeah.
decision now, you're limiting it forever.
Forever.
I know.
That's a huge limitation.
I know, this is very interesting to me, that this is
Yeah,
Jane's a real.
we actually thought it was, I personally thought it was very low.
Who did
I was a
this?
little surprised. It is an independent appraiser. It's actually someone that I've used in my business because they wanted someone from Kingston to do it, and I said absolutely not. So I gave them a bunch of names and they used this person. But if you read through the whole thing, you'd realize they're appraising it as just a piece of land out there. It does mention if someone were to follow through with permits, you know, if you were to follow through with permits and got a permit for 40B, then it's worth $1 million. It's completely different, but it's just land sitting out there. That's what they're looking at.
Folks, I'm sure there'll be a million more questions,
Absolutely.
tons of time to go over it. All of us that are racing off to Halifax, please drive safely and we'll reconvene over there.
Is the church on sale?
No, it's
The church on, we have, I know.
No, it's got the columns in the front.
Oh, all set. Good evening, thank you, Tri-Town Cable and videographer, thank you so much.